Okay, 8.4. Characteristics of a quadratic function. Basically, we're just continuing in sort of the logical next step of quadratic equations. Let's see, they give us this equation, y equals 3x squared minus 12. And they ask us to find the y-intercept. So we need to find what y equals when x equals 0. That's what y-intercept means. So I'm going to put in 0 for x. 0 squared is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. So y equals negative 12. That one's pretty easy. The next one is a little more complicated. Determine the y-intercept of y equals 3 times x minus, that's 2, times x plus 10. Okay, so 3 times these two things. You recognize this form. This is the binomial form. So what you do is put in 0 for x. So that's 3 times negative 2 times positive 10. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 times 10 is negative 60. So y equals negative 60. See, kind of looks a little complicated. It's actually fairly simple. Determine the y-intercept of y equals 2x squared plus 9x plus 4. Looks like maybe it's going to be complicated, but nope. This x is 0, so that whole term is 0. This x is 0, so that whole term is 0. And it's just 4. Y equals 4. Okay. The x-intercepts is where it gets a little more complicated. Determine the x-intercepts of f of x equals 2x plus 1 times x minus 7. There are two x-intercepts. So what you do is you take each one of them, and I think we did this a little bit earlier, is set them equal to 0. So 2x plus 1 equals 0, gets you negative 1, divided by 2, gets you negative 1/2. X minus 7 equals 0 gets you x equals 7. So you've got 7 and negative 1/2. All right. And that's pretty much it. It looks like we've already done this, so I don't see anything new coming up. I'll just leave it at that.